Alright, I got my JLT cold air intake installed. Wanted me to drill a hole here to add something for a hose for the automatic, but that wasn't on the other one, so I wouldn't know where that goes anyway. And the only other problem is that inlet right there is supposed to go to the cold air inlet that goes back in there, but there's some tube missing from the stock setup that I'm going to have to find in order to connect the cold air intake to it. Otherwise it's just going to be sucking out of the engine bay. So that might help if I get that piece. Other than that, it's time to put the tune on. Now there's the headers for the 14 and the X-pipe parts and the cats. Look at that. Look how easy that's going to be to delete. Come with an extension and clamps. That's a straight pipe, buddy. I like that. And then I got this for the convertible. So there'll be plenty of stuff to work with. Plenty to work with to, you know, delete that crap. Alright, this is the nitrous kit just came in the mail. Put that on the parts table. Bracket. Bunch of stuff down there. I'm sure that's the bottle. Probably wasn't the most healthy way to do it. Progressive controller. Can't wait to open that up. Sexy. All right. Get to use my transfer kit eventually. All right, I got home from work and I took out the battery and the battery box, which is just that. And I took off the air cleaner. It opens up this side pretty good. This side, I might have to think about taking this stuff off. This stuff here. To get down in there. That's going to be a little tight. So it begins. Alright, so in case you're watching this because you might want to be doing it, this is the exhaust system. Comes out the back. The factory H pipe here. I think I'm gonna have to disconnect it here, and I'm keeping this. And this is gonna get taken out. And these cats are gonna get taken out. There's a bolts right there that I gotta get to. And then that's after that opens up, I'll be able to see up in there more to get the starter out to see, and then get the motor mount out. See how much room we actually got to work with. Somebody said in some instructions that steering's got to come out, and then it has to be pushed up into the firewall. I'll probably wind up taking this bar off since it looks like it's easy to do. Sensor right there. You see up in this side a little bit better. The driver's side looks like it's going to be the easy side on this car. So what's under this? First time having it down myself. That's where you change the filter. And boy, that steering rack looks heavy. Probably save a lot of weight getting rid of that. Huh. Alright, so I got these clamps off. Just loosen the bolts and then kind of separate it, and then take a hammer and tap it right there, and then it slides off. This goes inside of this, so you just tap it back and this eventually almost falls on your head. And the H pipe is off on the back side. Okay, I got the O2 sensors off for now with a pipe wrench. I had a special tool, but it spreads open like that. It's like, whatever. Just use a pipe wrench. Now I gotta figure out how to get up on top of that. Somebody put that on upside down, if you ask me. And then this H pipe will come off. Alright, I decided that I'm just gonna torch these off, and it's stainless, so I more like melted them. I melted the nuts, and then I came back to the back side there and I pulled down on it until it cracked me in the head. And I busted the bolts off of the headers. Pulled the nuts out anyway. There's some slag left there. There's some slag left there. I probably burned into the header a little bit. Didn't burn through it though. We'll see when I get them off. So I decided, well, I'm probably just going to scrap those. Anyway, you could probably saw the X pipe or the H pipe, but I doubt I will. These, now that I'm exposed, got that clamp exposed, I might just take these off and sell that H pipe and put those in this scrap and get some money out of them. So, we can see a little bit. I probably should get that starter. These lines are concerning. I need to figure out what those are and where they go. Oh, they're transmission lines. Gee, I wonder. Those might be okay. I didn't see anywhere where anybody said to take them off. Alright, I got the two easiest ones to reach. I can get my camera to focus. Autofocus sucks. There we go. There they are. I got those two off with just a regular flex wrench. The rest are gonna be harder to get to, but at least I know that it don't take much to break them loose. I was able to get this pried up off of this, and it just falls out of the way. I think that's gonna be fine. It shoves up into the firewall just enough to get it out of that. Come on. Jeez. So tomorrow I'm gonna get at it some more. That's where I'm at tonight. Well, first night, we got about an hour or two into it, including going to the store to get the penetrating oil. Isn't this is the top starter bolt. Starter bolt. Isn't that just sad? The amount of trouble you have to go through. That's a knuckle on there. I can still barely get on it. Got my ratchet off. Somehow managed to keep the socket on there. Got the ratchet off after I broke it loose. Now I'm using my thumb and my finger to turn that, and my hand's cramping up. I'll be honest, I don't think that this starter needs 3 bolts. Alright, I got it down. It sat in there nicely so that the 3rd bolt even didn't bind up or nothing. Now I gotta figure out how I'm gonna get the wires off. I'll have to get up in there and twist it and try to point that in the direction I can get the wires off. You just let the starter sit right there on the cross member, and you can get the bolts from there. And then looks like it's gonna pull out the front here, but we'll see. It's kind of, there might be enough room to get it out there, I think. Okay, so I flipped the starter over and pointed the solenoid down, and now it should pull right out. Yeah, they really, I wonder how I'm gonna get this in here with the header on there. Boy, that would really suck if you have to take the header off just to change the starter. Okay, I got a special circumstance here because I don't got a stock intake. So I'm assuming that this intake and the bolts are strong enough to hold up the motor. I hope that's a safe assumption. And so now I got this Harbor Freight bar mounted, so I can go ahead and loosen up the bolts, and then I guess I'll slowly jack on the motor until it comes off the motor mounts, and pray it doesn't break nothing. Alright, so I got to the top motor mount bolt like that, and it's a little bit harder on the other side, but it will go. I tried to use a swivel and it just got in the way, so on the other side anyway. This one I'm sewing because it's so easy to see, but on that side over there it was just a little bit hard to get it on the bolt, but once it's on the bolt it wasn't really that tight. So that's the top mount, and I get both those nuts off and this motor should come up. Okay, it's just barely off of there. It's hard to see it, but it's about a 1/16 of an inch up. And yeah, can't see that side anyway. It's a 1/16 of an inch up, and I'm not sure back there if it's going to hit anything, so I'm not going to try to take it up extra high or anything. Just gonna, if that's enough to get that motor mount out, that's all I'm gonna do. Got all 4 bolts out. Long one on top in the front, long one on bottom in the back. And that comes right out. Now, I guess in the case of safety or whatever, maybe I'll just leave that one in and start on this side because it's pretty wide open, it feels like. So might just try to get that out. That was really easy. I couldn't believe it. All the nuts, all of them, came off with this after I broke them loose with this. Unbelievable. Now I gotta get this O2 sensor off because I couldn't get to it before. It's loose now, so it's probably still gonna be hard, but at least I'll be able to get on it. But this is just gonna pull right out. This side, this driver's side is really easy so far. One down. I just realized I don't have gaskets. And they're due in tomorrow. Probably late in the day, so I guess I'm just gonna, I doubt these are reusable. I'm just gonna have to get the other side and then wait. I don't know, man. These gaskets, they almost look like they're reusable. But the weird thing is that they're in, you know, layers. So, curious how that even works. So this very back bolt on the bottom, right there, has this wire on it. So you back it off and the nut falls off and it goes somewhere and you don't notice it. And you're sitting there fighting it until you realize, well, there's a wire on it because you put your scope up there, and found out you need to pull that wire off to get to the bolt underneath it. So be aware. On top of that, the nut's a 15 and the bolt's a 14. Then you got to reach your arm up in there and put your socket on there. And then you can reach your arm up in there and put your wrench on there. It's just, and then you figure out how to get, once you get it broke loose, how to get this in there. It's a pain in the butt. Yep. Okay, after much moving it around and flipping it over and everything else, that's how it comes out of there, I think. There it goes. All right. Put that on the side it goes on. Well, I see a few ones that are easy to get to. Hopefully this side goes just as smooth as the other side. I just can't believe how lucky I'm getting. I was able to bust that loose by hand. Can you believe that? It's the only way I could get up in there. It's a flexible ratchet wrench. Alright, so again I got them all with this and this. That's some strategic arm placement. And I had to drain the AC and pull the lines out of the way to do that very far bolt. But other than that, it went pretty good. Okay, that's the position I got the exhaust in when that's the position, and then I got a pipe wrench on that and broke it loose. Those are hard to get off. They have a special tool, but it goes over like this, but then it just flexes. And maybe I just got a cheap one. I don't know. But now I gotta figure out how to finagle it out. I had to pry the motor over like a 1/2 inch. Good thing I had it on a swing set up there. So I swung it over about a 1/2 inch, and then this popped off the bolts. But now I gotta figure out how to get it out of the hole. Drop it out the bottom. All right, so I had to pry a little bit here and there to swing this motor over a little bit. Then I had to twist it just right. I had to kind of twist it out like this. And it took a little bit of force to force it by this right here, but because the plate wanted to slide on this, but it came out. So now I'm just waiting on gaskets. It's a little hard to believe, but this sucker just twisted right up in there. Still just gotta wait for gaskets though. Maybe the other one will go in just as easy. Probably have to take it back out to get the gasket in anyway. Went to the store and bought some gaskets so I wouldn't have to wait. These are closer to the stock style. Guess there's not a, well, there's, maybe that's the part number right there. Yeah, it is. Anyway, now I can continue my project. So I have to pull that back out and put this in. All right, after a few attempts, I've decided to take out the studs, and they're coming out really easy. Very lucky on this job. I left the one in the back and I hung the gasket. And I'm gonna just try to shove it in there and hang it off that one bolt. And then I think I'm gonna have to drop the motor down slow and easy to get any other bolts in, because the frame of the car and other things are like this is in the way. So the engine needs to be down more closer to ride height. And I have no idea how I'm gonna get in there to put the motor mount back on, but you know, one step at a time. All right, so I got it on the bolt from back here. I shoved it up in there. Shoved it up in there, and I looked through here and there, and I finally shoved it on the bolt and hung it on the bolt. All right. And then I had to come up through here, stick my hand through this hole right here, and get on the bolt with my finger and my thumb. And then I had to put my hand here, right here, and kind of have my head, you know, so I could reach both this and the nut at the same time and shove it back further on the bolt so I could start the nut. Yeah, it's a challenge. It's a challenge. All right, so the second bolt I started was the bottom on the third bolt back, right there where it's slotted, and I was able to screw that bolt all the way in by hand. So now the gaskets are lined up. Now I just gotta, for this side, I just gotta get the rest of the bolts started. For this side, it's not gonna line up until I drop the motor down, I think. So hopefully it doesn't bind on stuff. I'm probably gonna have to come down here and move it a few times to get the motor down where it needs to be, so the exhaust doesn't hang up on stuff. All right, they're in. Everything's back together. I still got to tighten down the top nut on the motor mount. I'll drop the car to do that. This is the back one. It's too short. This is the front one. It's too short. And the wires go all the way up on top of the transmission. So I might have to drop the transmission down just a little bit to get to those wires. So loosen these and bring it down. Maybe. Have to look and see if I can. I don't know. That's stupid to plug them in up above the transmission like that. Drives me nuts. Because when I go to drop it down, I couldn't get this nut on, so there's only that much clearance. So the motor's only going to drop a little bit, and I don't think I'm going to get the clearance that I need anyway. Probably should have done that before I put the headers on. The plug's way, geez, way up there. So I'm gonna have to order another one of these. I was able to reach down in there and fish that up and pull it through. This is for the driver's side. So now I'm gonna fish that back down and plug it in. I'll have at least one O2 sensor hooked up. And I'll go ahead and order another one of these, maybe 3 more. Okay, got it finished. Except for these because I don't have extensions. I had the one extension, so I got that one in, but the rest of them I gotta wait. I made that. That's where the cat goes. There it is. Okay, well, maybe I'll put the battery in. Okay, I know it's gonna throw some codes, but we'll go ahead and try to start it anyway. That's a lot louder. That's probably the AC stuff burning off. Well, that's a lot quieter now. It was loud when it was idled up. Boy, that's a big difference.